Welcome to today's explainer. We are untangling a deeply exhausting and, let's be honest, all too common pattern today, that incredibly draining habit of carrying unearned guilt. So if you've ever felt totally weighed down by problems you definitely didn't cause, or if you find yourself constantly taking the heat at work or in your personal relationships, well, you are in the exact right place. We're going to break down this complex dynamic step by step so you can finally reclaim your peace of mind.
Why do I always end up apologizing for things that weren't my fault? I want you to just let that sink in for a second. It's an incredibly relatable question, right? The emotional exhaustion of always taking the fall can literally make you question your own sanity. You know the feeling? You find yourself automatically blurting out, "I'm sorry," just to keep the peace in situations you had absolutely no control over. But listen, you are not alone in this, and it is absolutely not all in your head. Today, we're going to uncover exactly why this happens to so many of us.
Okay, let's dive right into this. Section 1, defining the fallacy, the sleight of hand. Because to solve any behavioral problem, we first need to put a clear clinical name to it.
So blame shifting is basically the act of transferring the burden of fault onto another person to avoid personal accountability, completely regardless of the actual facts. What's really happening here is kind of like a psychological sleight of hand. The person doing this, they aren't engaging in honest self-reflection. Instead, their own actions magically become invisible, while your actions, or sometimes honestly just your sheer presence in the room, are unnaturally magnified. They bypass the actual source of the problem entirely and just drop the whole weight right into your lap.
We really have to reframe this behavior. It is fundamentally a defense mechanism that is disguised as an accusation, designed to protect their ego at the expense of your peace. This is such a crucial paradigm shift for us. Recognizing this impartial truth ensures that accountability isn't weaponized against you. It's not necessarily a malicious attack. They are simply trying to preserve their own ego. But the tragic side effect here is that it's costing you your peace of mind.
Section 2, everyday examples, the twisted narrative. We're going to look at how the psychological manipulation actually plays out in the real world. And this brilliantly illustrates scenarios you might instantly recognize, because this dynamic is literally everywhere. Think about a personal situation. Say a partner arrives late and immediately snaps, "If you hadn't taken so long getting ready, we wouldn't be late." Notice how they completely ignore their own poor time management. Or consider a professional scenario. A manager completely misses a crucial deadline and tells you, "Well, this happened because you didn't give clear updates." In both of these cases, the narrative forcefully twists. It completely erases their agency and shoves all the weight, all the blame, squarely onto your shoulders.
The core consequence of these twisted narratives is this: your reality becomes secondary to their need to avoid discomfort. In these tense moments, the objective facts are completely sacrificed just so the other person can avoid looking in the mirror. Your truth and the actual reality of what happened are pushed aside because their ego just cannot handle the sheer discomfort of admitting fault. It is so vital to realize that this interaction is fundamentally about their discomfort. It is not about your actions.
Moving on to Section 3, the antidote, your accountability toolkit. This is exactly where we learn to set firm boundaries and take our power back. Here is your highly actionable 3-step toolkit. Step 1. Pause and assess the facts. Before you reflexively internalize all that blame and spit out an apology, just stop. Remember, correlation is not causation. Just because you were in the room definitely doesn't mean you caused the fire, right? Step 2. Name the redirection calmly. Call out what is happening in real time without escalating the emotion. And finally, Step 3. Hold space for shared accountability. You are simply asking for the full picture to be looked at honestly by both parties. These 3 steps, they form your essential armor against taking on unearned guilt.
Now, if you're wondering exactly what to say for Step 2, I want you to keep this exact phrase in your back pocket. "I notice you're placing full responsibility on me without acknowledging your part." This is highly practical and honestly really disarming. It calmly names the redirection and demands fair, shared accountability without resorting to any kind of emotional attack. It literally just states a fact. I highly recommend using this exact script the next time you feel that blame shifting your way.
The absolute most crucial point I want you to walk away with today is this: you deserve relationships where responsibility is shared, not dumped. You are absolutely not responsible for managing someone else's avoidance issues. And remember, stepping up and acknowledging your own minor role in a situation, if you even had one, doesn't mean you have to absorb 100% of the blame. Healthy accountability should always be distributed fairly based on the actual facts.
Which brings us to Section 4, the next challenge, the victimhood fallacy. This is the next logical extreme we face when dealing with accountability avoidance.
I want to leave you with a highly provocative question to think about. What happens when they stop shifting blame and instead become the perpetual victim? What do you actually do when someone positions themselves as the eternal victim of circumstances, or maybe even a victim of you, just to completely avoid taking any responsibility for their own life? How do we navigate relationships where personal suffering is actively used as a shield against growth? It's a profound challenge, and it's exactly what we'll explore in our next explainer. Thank you so much for learning with me today. Guard your peace, and I'll see you next time.